Hi, everybody. Erica here from In the Company of Cards. It's a little late in the day for me to be doing a video, but I didn't want to miss the party. So I thought I would come on and look at a couple of issues briefly. I'll be on for a longer session tomorrow, but um, of course, some of what people are talking about today is Melania's address to the nation with, I mean, like a podium and flags flanking her and everything, bringing up the Epstein files, which, according to Todd Blanche, was done and dusted and over with, yesterday's news. So, why in the world, all of a sudden, did Melania feel the urge to give us a little speech? If you didn't see it, she said that she didn't know Epstein. They weren't friends. They only had met socially a few times. That she was not a victim of Epstein's. The interesting thing was that she said that she thought that the women should be able to testify in front of Congress and have their say. The women have had their say. We know what the women's story is. So what we want to hear from is all those perpetrators. That's what we want to hear about and from. But anyway, all right. So the question of the hour, of course, is why did she do that? Like, what was that all about? So I'm just gonna look for Melania in the deck, and I'm gonna ask the question. Why did Melania do this today, of all days? Why did she come out and bring up something that they'd hoped they had buried? Obviously, it's not buried, but that they are trying to sort of say, watch the watch. It's not a thing. Why did she do that? Okay, so let's just see what we get. Okay, I'm going to use the older woman for her because she is older. All right, she pops right up. There's Melania. Definitely, clarifying cards are in order, so I will pull those and then I'll talk about everything. Okay, so I can come up with a couple of reasons why she did what she did. So we have the scales, we have the snake, we have Melania in the center, we have the garden, and we have the sun. Okay, so that's our original line of five. First thing I want to say is that she does believe this, that she has not been treated fairly. So if this is justice and this is fairness, she feels like she has been maligned and that she has not been treated fairly. Uh, so that's why she went public to the degree that she did. Now I can mirror the snake with the garden. She she doesn't, you know, she tries to be so enigmatic, but she knows that people have said all kinds of things about her and Epstein. Like, for example, there's a term, and I don't want to use it. The initials of it are SS. So you can figure it out if you know what it means. But it's a term for the fact that the word is allegedly, for entertainment purposes only, that Melania was Epstein's girlfriend before she was with the felon. SS. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't need to know. But I think she feels maligned in the eyes of the public over this whole issue. Okay, so I pulled clarifiers on everything. So here is this card for justice or fairness, etc. And the clarifiers are the heart, the tree, and the house. I think that she is thinking past the White House years. Um, she's thinking long term. And eventually, I know it's hard to believe, but eventually the felon will be no longer with us, we'll just say. And she has to walk in the world for the rest of her life once he's gone. And she would prefer being on the right side of history because she would like people to like her and treat her well and respect her and admire her. That's why she threw in the thing at the end about the the survivors having their day in court. That's why she threw that in there. Really, it's mostly about her. Okay. Second card is the snake. Again, she feels ill-used, done wrong, maligned. This is her reputation. So she feels that her reputation has been sullied. So here it is between the snake and clouds by all of the rumor and innuendo. And that's got her feeling some type of way. I don't think this is money here. Remember that well, each card has different meanings depending on a lot of things. Here, this card could mean money, but it doesn't. It's about emotion. I think she was in quite a heightened state of emotionality when she decided to do this. And it's because she feels as though her reputation has been maligned. I want to say maligned? What reputation, Melania? But okay. Anyway, here she is in the center. Clarifiers are the letter, the cross, and the anchor. So this is Melania. These are the files, the files that won't disappear. Um, they have caused her no end of pain, and they are weighing her down. Um, you know, the talk on the street about her is not about that dumb movie that she made or what a lovely son she's raised, but it more has to do with the fact that she's attached. I mean, we have photographs, we have correspondence, and she feels weighted down by this Epstein matter. So she's trying to come out a day late and a dollar short. I'll say it again on the right side of history. Fourth card is the garden, and this is for the public. And then we have um, the woman, young woman, the stork, and the key. I think she thought that if part of her public remarks seemed to champion the survivors, that people would think better of her. She thought that was really her ace in the hole, is if she came out and said something completely different from what the felon has said, from what Todd Blanche has said, from what Pam Bondi has said, that that would be her ace in the hole and that she would be seen as the good one. But the other reason that she did it is this. So, here's her making things public or making herself known, speaking in public. I find these last cards really interesting. We have the book, the scythe, and the felon. What do these say? That this public airing of her position, the felon knew nothing about it. He didn't know. We heard two different stories. We heard at first from the press office that he did know in advance, but then out of his mouth, he told the reporter, the MSNBC, I think she is, or maybe, I don't know what, uh, Jackie Alamani is her name, told the reporter he had no idea what she was going to talk about. We know that that's true because of the book. The book is about secrets, things that he didn't know. He had no idea she was going to talk about Epstein. And what she did was to undercut him. She's really, really angry at him and wanted him to know that as First Lady, she had a platform and a stage and that she was going to use them. It's quite cutting, it's quite damaging because just a few days ago, Todd Blanche said, nothing to see here. We won't be releasing any more files, and we're not talking about this anymore. Well, this has undercut that in a huge way. And that was on purpose. I'm sure that there has been trouble in paradise before, but that was Melania's shot across the bow. Um, she is over him. He has outlived his usefulness, and she feels that he is harming her brand. And so she thinks that she can, run across the street to the other team and play for the other team. The other team being the survivors. Again, I don't think it will work in the sense that I don't think anyone will uh, think that she won't come out of this as a hero for anyone. Um, but I do think that it will have hurt the felon deeply on a personal level, but also certainly on a political level, since he's trying to sort of put this behind him. That wasn't going to work. We know that wasn't going to work, but had to have the first lady come out in that official way and speak to a camera and not just say, I had nothing to do with anything, I don't know anybody, but to also say the victims have a right to be heard. Um, Again, she could have gone further and she could have said, we've heard from the victims. The onus should not be on them to name names. There are names named in the files. Those are the people that need to go before Congress. She didn't go that far because again, remember, the victims were thrown in there as an afterthought. Um, she's trying to get brownie points with the public. It backfired, by the way. The victims are like, the victims, a lot of them are saying what I just said, which is, you know, how many times do we have to speak on this? You're asking us to name names. The names are right there, redacted. Why don't we unredact those names? Why don't we haul some of those people in front of the committee? So anyway, that's why she did it. She did it because she thought it would win her brownie points with the public. She's thinking long term. And once the felon is gone, she wants to be able to walk in the world with her head up, saying, I was on the right side. It's incredibly cynical. But also, the second reason she did it was to stick it to her husband. Interesting. All right. The other thing I wanted to look at tonight is Hegseth. Apparently, there had been shouting matches where, well, I don't know if they're matches, but um, fits of pique, we'll call them, tantrums by the felon aimed at Hegseth. Because, of course, Hegseth has underreported, misreported, given quite a rosy view to the felon as to what's going on in this war, that is in no way approximating reality. And the felon is cornered. So I want us to see what Hegseth's trajectory is. Um, I'll use the young man for Hegseth. He's not young, but he's headstrong and he's foolhardy and he's arrogant and he's a lot of things that sometimes youth um, is. I mean, no shade. Um, So we'll use the young man for Hegseth, and we want to know what's going to happen to him. So remember, we're looking for the young man, and that will stand for Hegseth. I know he's, got a ton of kids and all of that, but his personality makes me think of the young man. So we have Clover, we have the whip, we have Hegseth in the middle, we have the snake, and we have, interestingly, the bouquet at the end. Now, I've said this before recently, I feel like, about this card. Clover's a great card, except when it's not. And because Hegseth is way over his head, he was just a talking head on Fox. He was in the National Guard, but now he's the head of the Department of War. Um, it all just feels like, sometimes when I can't sleep, I watch these Instagram videos of just people, I don't know, scaring other people, like saying boo, and people freak out or they slip on ice or whatever. I don't know, it just makes me laugh. This is very much like slipping on ice, it feels like to me. That Hegseth is trying to keep his feet under him, but it's very difficult because the ground is very slippery. I do think that there have been angry words um, directed at him by the felon. Hegseth's in the middle. This is between, or this flanks Hegseth, the snake, and the whip. So he is in danger. Um, he will be blamed. But I find it very interesting that we have the bouquet at the end. Uh, I don't think he'll be entirely thrown to the wolves. I think he will be gotten rid of, but I think they'll give him a different position or something like that, because this is a card for a reward. So I pulled cards, clarifiers on him, and we have the child, the bear, and the star. Okay, so this is Hegseth. He is just really not suited for the job. He's out of his depth as a child would be if they were, um, you know, conducting the affairs of war. But, he's a big bully. You could tell by the tattoos on his arms or his chest or whatever. He's a bully. Um, Now, the star here is about the future. So, you would think that he has reached the pinnacle of his um, career success, but he does have his eye on some further prize moving forward. Now, the snake is the other card that flanks him along with the wit, right? And the clarifiers for that are the cross, the letter, and the young woman. Cross and Snake are not good cards for him. So something's coming in for him that will be very difficult. Uh, I know, I mean, obviously, it doesn't have to do with the Epstein files because he's not part of that whole thing. But I will say this, these two cards always do put me in mind of the Epstein files. And so, what I want to say is, if to the extent that the war was meant to be a distraction from the Epstein files, that hasn't worked because we can talk and chew gum at the same time. That has not worked. Okay. And then the final card, the fifth card, is the bouquet. I can mirror it with this other happiness card, Clover, which is interesting. The clarifiers for it, the bouquet, are the tower, the fish, and the fox. And oddly, it makes me feel, well, hmm, you know, here's what I think. If someone were to hand you a steaming pile of poo that was wrapped up in beautiful gift wrapping paper and ribbon, and they held it out to you, um, you still have a choice in whether you accept this gift. If they say to you, here's this gift that I got for you, your temptation is to take it, but then you smell it and you're like, yeah, no, thank you. I'm not taking that. So everything that glitters, all the glitters is not gold, as they say. I think that the thanks, the gift that Hegseth will get in the end for being loyal to the felon is prison and maybe a fine because he backed the wrong horse. I mean, he's committing war crimes, crimes against humanity. That's a fact. So the wages of sin in this case may very well end up being prison for him. So that's what I think will happen. All right. Um, I had a viewer write me a very long email after the video that Lena and I did last night. We do our 360 worldview every Wednesday night. And she was quite indignant, saying that I was essentially maligning the Democratic Party. And that, as far as she was concerned, the Democrats have been doing a great job and they need to, um, at all costs, win. And I just want to say this as a Black person, because this viewer was not Black. Um, I and a lot of other Black people, certainly the ones in Texas, I'll say that much, are really tired of our uh, votes being taken for granted. I'm not saying that anybody's going to run out and vote for uh, a Republican. I'm saying that some respect towards Black voters, especially Black women voters, is in order. That's all I'm saying. So, and I want to say too, I'm not for everybody. And I'm not trying to be for everybody. You don't have to be here if this is not something that you feel fed by or feel challenged in a good way by. You don't have to be here. Um, so I stand on what I said. I think that the Democratic Party has a lot of work to do. I think their hands are not without stain. And I think that if they don't want Black women to be drinking our water and minding our business and watching everything, you know, do what it's going to do, they would be well served to pay attention to that demographic. That's all. All right. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I wish you a good Thursday night. I will be back tomorrow and I'll see you then. So take care.